Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really interesting model for building peace right from the ground up. We're going to break down the strategy of one local organization in South Sudan to see how they're working to transform communities that have been through devastating conflict. So that leads to this huge question, right? How do you actually build peace from the ground up in a place that's been torn apart by war? It's one of the toughest challenges out there. We're going to dig into one potential answer by looking at a report from a local group that's right there on the front lines in South Sudan. Okay, so first things first, let's get to know the organization at the heart of this whole story. Their work is laid out in a report they actually titled Working Harder with the People. The group is called HARSS. That's HARSS. And it's a local, non-governmental organization. And what's really key here is that they're working directly with people who've been deeply affected by conflict, many of whom are just now returning home to South Sudan after being refugees in Uganda. And their mission, well, it's incredibly ambitious. They're aiming for, and I'm quoting here, bringing far-reaching transformation to the divided people, families, and communities. Their whole strategy is built around what they describe as biblically based peace programs, really designed to get at the root of that division and start to heal it. So the big question is, how do they actually do that? Well, their strategy really breaks down into two main parts. The first one is all about training and empowering local leaders to become what they call peace envoys. 20. Just 20. That's how many new leaders they trained at a recent 2-day workshop. And the whole point? To get them ready to carry this peace-building mission into totally new communities. And these new envoys, they're really the engine for this whole expansion. Their job is to push into new regions and, for the very first time, into communities that were right in the middle of the war. There's a special focus on training up pastoral teams and, importantly, women leaders who are making that journey back home to South Sudan. And you know, this is crucial. It's not some top-down model being forced on people from the outside. The report calls it a biblical, grassroots approach to peace. And because it's so community-level, they found that local leaders started making their own plans and taking action almost right away. All right, let's pivot to this second part of their strategy. This one tackles community stability from a very different, very practical angle: farming. So right alongside all that peace training, HARS is also running a regenerative agriculture program. And according to their reports from the field, it is absolutely thriving. The teams are seeing what they call tremendous results on the local farms. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. The results they're seeing go so far beyond just growing more food. Yeah, food security's up and people are making some money from extra crops, but it's more than that. You've got neighbors actually working together. You have whole communities starting to share what they grow. It's building connection. And here's the secret sauce, the thing that makes it spread. The training actually includes a commitment, a promise from every single participant that they will then go out and help teach their neighbors. It's designed to create this self-sustaining ripple, a multiplication effect that just keeps growing on its own. So, okay. You have these two pretty different programs, right? On one hand, you're training peace envoys. On the other, you're teaching farming. How in the world do these two things work together to hit one single target? Well, the core insight here is that they're not separate programs at all. They're two sides of the same coin, a single holistic strategy. The belief is you just can't build lasting peace without addressing both the spiritual wounds from the conflict and the real physical needs of a community at the exact same time. And this really lays out that combined approach perfectly. You see it here. On one side, you have the spiritual needs. That's the peace programming, the reconciliation work. And on the other side, you've got the physical needs, the farming, the food security. The whole model is built on the idea that real, sustainable peace, it needs both of these things working together. They're completely connected. So what this HARS report really gives us is a fascinating blueprint for peace building from the ground up. It's this two-part strategy, deeply rooted in a specific community. And it leaves us with a really important question to think about. In a world with such massive, overwhelming conflicts, what's the real power? And what are the limitations of a hyper-local, community-led approach like this one to create peace that actually lasts?